All right, so Rico alluded to this. Let me give you two notes, and I'll start with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and then there's one other thing no one's talking about, and I would like to add it to the list of reasons you lost. But the Gardner-Johnson thing, look, I like him as a player, but it's just gotten a little too much for me, and this team is built on culture, right? This team is built on grit and hard work and being all in. I don't know how many of you paid attention, but I mean, last week, C.J. Gardner-Johnson should have got popped for a personal foul taunting. Got very lucky after he tossed the ball back at Baker. All week in the lead up to this game, he's out here calling Deebo Samuel little boy and doing all this other weird stuff. Then they get in the game. He takes a cheap shot on Deebo. All right, selfish. He's waving goodbye to the crowd. One problem, it's the second quarter. So you start to look at it and you go, all right, this is why the Saints didn't keep him. This is why the Eagles didn't pay him. This is how you got him on a one-year prove-it deal. Now, I'm not angry if they bring him back, but I'm just saying I don't have to have him back. Melifonwu resurrected his career. Kirby Joseph's a good player. And you drafted Brian Branch. He's a luxury, not a need. Wouldn't be surprised if they moved on. Here's the other one. Do you know the only Lions player who played on defense to not register a single stat last night?
I think I do, but go ahead.
Aiden Hutchinson. Didn't have a tackle. Didn't have TFL. Nothing.
He did, well, in all fairness, he did knock
Knock
down
the
two
ball
passes.
down.
Yes.
But, Rico, this is the other thing, is when you're in the big moments. I always used to complain about this, like with the Giants, with Strahan in the fourth quarter. I'd be like, alert me the next time he gets a fourth quarter sack. It'll be the first time. Like, you needed a play from your guy. The same way the Niners got it from their guy with Bosa.
Yeah, but Cookies told me that Williams was no good anymore.
Okay. I'm making a point.
I know.
You know, and it's not about blaming Aiden. I'm saying when you guys want to put it all on one person, we can craft a picture so crystal clear, it's about everyone. Your best defensive player, your face of the franchise, a nothing burger of a game. Your head coach, questionable decisions. Your sure-handed receiver, not sure-handed. Your genius OC, couple of questionable calls. The Amon-Ra 3rd and 4 run, the pass back and forth kind of thing, calling the run at the goal line, and then you zany use a timeout when you shouldn't. It's everything. And the Gardner-Johnson stuff, I just don't need any of that. This team is good. This team belongs on the same field as the good teams in the league. I don't need that. And it really had me going, you know what? This is why Philly didn't keep him. This is why the Saints didn't keep him. Right here. This nonsense.
Right, because it could have cost you. Now, it didn't. You scored the touchdown. But let's just say, Malcolm Rodriguez takes it back to the house on a pick six. You blindsided, cheap-shotted Deebo. You put the needs of yourself over the team on that play because it was like, I thought maybe they just got into it in the middle of the field. No, Deebo was just looking away from the play, and you just ran up and hit him and then did the whole Tayshaun Prince. Oh, I didn't do anything. Actually, you did. The world
And part of the problem is you advertised it during the week. Mm-hmm. If you shut your mouth and you go play, maybe they don't call it. Maybe. But everyone knew you had a real problem with this cat during the week because the first thing you ran to do was go to social media and tell everybody about it. Just a small thing. I think they got enough talent. I think they got enough players. The $8 million, yeah, I got to allocate that to Jared Goff or part of Amon-Ra's deal or what I got to spend to go and get a bookend for Aiden. All of it. All of it. So it was just another thing, and I know not a lot of people are talking about it. It was just two notes. Want to go to the people? Who's held the longest? Who do you want to go to?
That would be Josh. You're on 97.1.
Good afternoon, guys.
Hey, Josh.
Hey, Josh.
I just want to touch on something simple here, kind of touched into it a little bit already. First half, everything went their way. You got a nice pick on Purdy, turned it into points. Moody misses a field goal he usually makes. The San Francisco crowd was pretty much out of the game. But in the second half, things start going wrong, and then the universe lets you know how wrong it could go when that dinko doinko, almost a pick, and then Ayuk comes down with that ball. That was the clear sign that the marching band of voodoo dolls was in the room, and Dan Campbell had to pivot away from his instinct and realize that the house was on fire. Because when the house is on fire, all your senses tell you that at the same time, and you got to get outside of what you might normally do and say, I got to be smart and do this a little differently. And I'm just, for that reason, I'm shocked he didn't kick that late field goal, and that's what I got.
Yeah, I mean, it was a ton of missed opportunities. I mean, you can pinpoint a lot of plays that if they just did this, this would have changed. They did this, they made this right decision. But I do wonder if maybe it was just way too easy and they relaxed and thought we had this game sewn up and we're headed to the Super Bowl. And they didn't have the same hunger they did.
I think what you learn, it is one thing to compete with the great teams. It's another to get a lead on them. It's a whole different thing to put them away. Mm-hmm. It's a learning process.
Yeah.
And I wish I could tell you it'll be right back here. I can't say that. Your own head coach said as much. But sometimes you got to learn. Like, I don't know if it's fair to use another sport, but like you look at basketball or hockey, very rarely does a team make it for the first time and they just go, in the words of Tom Berenger, win the whole effing thing. You got to learn how to do it.
Yeah, they don't pull the Golden Knights and yeah.
Look at how the Pistons had to make their way through Jordan. Multiple shots at it. You got to learn.
Well, Mike, and for the old heads out there, this game, I think a lot of them feel the same way when Isaiah threw the ball away to Bird. When you had the game locked up and you just made a bonehead decision and it changed everything. And you had the victory and you lost it, but you had to go through the Celtics. Then you had to go through the Lakers before you finally got to that title.
And they put the graphic up last night. This team doesn't have any experience. The Niners are loaded with it. They've been through the wars. So it doesn't surprise me that, hey, here's the other thing, right? I don't want to. I hate giving credit to the opponent. That's a really good football team you played. They're getting paid too, and they saw a crack, they saw a little blood in the water, and they came after you. It took a lot of things to go wrong for you to lose that game. Part of it is your coach, part of it's your OC, part of it's your players. The defense is what it is. It's a bad defense. They're bad.
Yeah.
Now, do I think they can get exponentially better this offseason? I do. Priority 1 and 1A, lead corner, edge rusher. You put those two things on this defense, I think we're talking a whole different language.
And the funny thing about the defense, I never thought I would say this, but one of the Achilles heel showed up.
What's that?
The mobile QB. Now, nobody pegged. Nobody's getting Purdy confused with Lamar. But on 3 key third downs, he just took off and ran, picked up about 50 yards on 3 different plays, and he was unaccounted for. He just takes off and runs, and it's just like, I think it was Alex Anzalone whiffed and missed him on one. If he tackles him, he's going to stop him behind the line, but he missed, and the next thing you know, nobody accounted for him.
We'll get more of your calls.